Tell me, what does Human Rights Day mean to you guys?
Human Rights Day? Mina bafowethu ngibona ngathi lolu suku lanamhlanje usuku vele kumele silicelebrate, usuku olukhulu. Kunabantu abadala, okhokho nokhokhokazi bethu abalwela lolu suku ukuthi sibe namalungelo anjena. Balwela ukuthi siphile kahle, sibe nempilo engcono, siphila nje yibona. Mele sibe nosuku lapho esizobabonga khona njengosuku lanamhlanje, njengoba kulolu suku namhlanje sibabonge ngalento abasenzele yona. Uma ngabe sibuka isimo ebebaphila ngaso kudala, akusona isimo si-right, bese ngeke silunga abaningi bethu la, kube kade safa. Kodwa ngenxa yokuthi bawalela lamalungelo, sawathola, sesiphila ngawo lamalungelo, bona basekho. Mele silicelebrate lolu suku ezindlela yokuthi sibabonge for lamalungelo abasilwela wona. Iyona into engiyicabangayo ngosuku lwanamhlanje, akukho okunye.
What is our biggest challenge when it comes to being successful and uphume kahle?
I'm not playing cards, I blame the government.
Yes.
Because the government has contribute with the local businesses and so forth, so that the productivity, the economic productivity can increase.
Yes.
So yeah, that's it. Now what I do, so now I'm talking about education. When I'm talking about education, I'm talking about those who finish school. There are some people who decided to, when they're done with school, they decide to take a gap year. Yeah. And that's where the problem starts, because of you take the gap year and you end up being, as you say, marginalized. Yeah. So no, as we talk about one can say yes. Like but most white children grade 12, but never had time. They needed to focusing on their studies in order for them to get a scholarship to continue with their studies. And there are those who passed and but then back. Why? They decided to take a gap. That's where they understand. That's where people told a higher because of what they decided. It's a decision of the person that makes him who he or she is.
Yes. So we can't talk about poverty. You see, poverty is nothing. There's people who are out of poverty who are better than those one who ask about us, like Mahotmana Kokas. So Mahotmana Kokasi, I did say that Barry doesn't. Abonanga ukuthi uphasile manje umetric uthi wena uthatha gap year.
Yeah.
Yabona. Why ungahazi? Why ungaphumi? Na ama-hotman sinawo lana ama-photograph. Why ungaphandi something? Why? Kada hotman arinyo na.
What do you think about the future of education? Seeing where we are now, with like unemployment being high, and all that, because I feel like it affects people's right to education, especially in marginalized communities.
I think in marginalized communities, it's really negatively impacted those parts. But there was a job that I did recently, and it was of matric students that were coming out of actually marginalized communities. I'd like to say the hood, that come out of the hood that are actually doing well. So if you look at it from that perspective, you look at certain spaces, certain schools actually that are coming from marginalized areas, there is some strides that are being made by the country and the government and the people themselves on the ground that is going to better this future, this going to better the next generation. But the important thing is, spreading the proper information, the right kind of information to the young people, especially because that's exactly who is going to be running the country tomorrow. So I think the education conversation, I think it's far from being over, but I do believe that there is some progress, somewhat, that is being made. I mean, you know, actually, if I was to touch on it a little bit, I would say, I think the biggest problem that we have in this country is how much less in the economy Black people own, you know, but with the right amount of education, with the right amount of knowledge being passed around, I believe that there's a lot that can be done to actually just better education and just the take on it, really, you know.
What do you think about the government's involvement in like uplifting the making it right?
You know, I think it's, you know, it's about high time that the government, you know, involves itself, you know, deeper than it usually does. You know, not so long ago with the Independent Producers Organization, we went and there was a march and a protest at the DTIC, you know, for the rights of creatives, you know, creatives of different kinds. We were fighting for our incentives. We're just fighting for the rights of filmmakers, you know, and for, you know, these governments and the people in power to really invest, you know, in the creative economy. You know, the creative economy creates a lot of jobs. The creative economy is what the country needs in order to breathe. If there were no generations, if there were no Sestoplas, if there were no The Queen, if there was no SABC1, ETV, you know, I don't think, you know, we'd be where we are in terms of a lot of things, you know. So I do think, you know, I guess, you know, an event like this could be a wake-up call to the government to say, you know, invest in the creative economy. There are young people that are going to film school, that are going to creative schools, that are, you know, trying so hard to get businesses and just, you know, make a name for themselves, and not only do that, but create things that will impact the generations that will come after this country. And all we plead with the government is to invest in that. Give us a chance to pitch, give us a chance and hear us out, you know. I don't think money is the barrier, you know. It's really just about the message. And I guess I can speak on behalf of a lot of filmmakers and say that our message is a message of hope. Our message is that a message of change, is a message of awareness, and we need you to help us get that message across.
Rights to education, it simply means that every child in South Africa have a right to education. However, when we look at the word or the meaning of having rights, it does not really describe what is currently happening in South Africa. For instance, we are still seeing challenges. For instance, people who are coming from rural areas, they don't really have free education. They're still having a lot of challenges. If you can look at wherever that they're coming from, they are still struggling with the roads. There are still kids that don't have, for instance, school shoes. We still see people who are actually doing donations, foundations, which it shows that there's still a gap. So in a nutshell, we are not really free to actually have education because it's not really free, if I can say it like that.
What do you think about the future of the education system in our country? What unemployment going high, right? As there's not much job opportunities?
Whether the two are correlated?
Huh?
Whether the two are correlated?
Yes.
Look, I think the education in South Africa has gone down a horrible downward spiral, and it's not addressing the skills capacity in South Africa. The fact that we continue to accept a 30% pass rate is not going to help or aid in filling that unemployment gap, and also because it's not relevant. I think education should adapt to the socio-economic needs of a country, and that until that happens, I think unemployment will continue to be a huge problem that the South African government needs to face.
Hi, my name is Skylar and I'm with Greenpeace Africa. So Greenpeace Africa is centered around climate justice and climate change, fighting for justice for the environment. Then, next question. Okay. So human rights day to me means a lot. It's a lot of diverse things, but first and foremost, human rights means having access to everything that is in the world without without being subjected to culture, to race, or anything else that may hinder you from getting the same access to everything else, like water, regardless of who I am.
Hi, my name is Dean Will. I represent Josie My Josie, a movement for the people, by the people. Human Rights Day means that we highlight, I guess, the connection that we have to each other and how we should be looking to improve the situation of the people around us. People, unfortunately, don't have the same access to opportunities in life, and I think it's our responsibility to do our best to give each other the right opportunities so we can all become successful in our lifetime.
Okay, last one. What's the mission of Josie My Josie?
Josie My Josie aims to rejuvenate the city of Johannesburg with an inside-out approach. We want to empower the people on the ground and provide them with solutions that they come up with and the resources to help them with those solutions.
So I suppose I'm putting it to everybody sitting here to say, what are you saying about homelessness in your city when you live in this city every day, so that they can speak to those aspects, and then we can walk away here empowered and reached and with a sense of wanting to do what we can do in our spaces. Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest challenge when it comes to men's mental health?
I think the biggest challenge when it comes to men's mental health is the stigma that's been assigned to it over the years, be it by parents, the society we live in, but the notion that men aren't allowed to cry or aren't allowed to speak about what's really happening with them. It's kind of you have food at home, a roof over your head and a family, everything should be okay narrative.
Say that as the youth, we're taking advantage of the opportunities given to us by the people that fought for our freedom.
I'm on the fence with that one. I won't lie to you. If you want the honest answer, I'm on the fence with that one, just due to the fact that we don't really fully comprehend what it took for us, what it took for our previous generation to acquire the freedom that we do have today. It's just a thing of like, we're just living now. It's not a thing of, okay, no, Nelson Mandela, Winnie Mandela, Robert Sibukwe, they fought for our freedom. So it's a thing of we actually have to re-educate ourselves regarding what human rights is.
It's a boy lots in other pounds, the one and only Grengo, Mr. Sosh Plata, we out here, Mr. Punyete, we out here, Gamara, Constitutional Hill for the Bergen Human Rights Day on Swar. So to me, I think Human Rights Day is a very special day to me because I feel like I commemorate the people who worked hard on Swar. They had to fight for like everything that we have today, the democracy and all that. Like right now we can do everything we do like without having to fight. So that's why it's very special to me.
What is hindering us as Black people from making our purpose?
First of all, I think we rely too much on the government. So we expect the government to do everything for us. So not saying the government shouldn't do like what they're supposed to do, but I feel like we have to find ways, whether the government is on our side, if we have the infrastructure or not, we have to find ways, just like the people in 1990s did. The government wasn't on their side, but still they managed to pull it through. They had to fight. So I feel like also we have a responsibility to fight and also make sure like we put each other on, you feel me? Because like if I'm at the top and then I can put maybe 5 people at the top, those 5 people can also put maybe like 20 on Swat, and then that's how we grow as a community on Swat. And also we should spread information, because I feel like the people who have information are unreachable, you feel me? So yeah, if like you have information on how to make it, if you know someone is a doctor or like when you go practice something and you have resources, so yeah, I feel like we should spread that out, and then make sure like when we have conversations, it's not about like fun things, you feel me? It's like eradicate that, and yeah, because like knowledge thing, everything is there. We just have to like spread it to the right people. So that's why I feel like where especially my hood is, because like I feel like at a box state on like someone can grow up thinking her like I want to be a doctor by 15 years old already, like the dreams are dead. It's like that's not gonna happen on so yeah, I feel like also like having more role models that can like give back to the community, not just by like giving away the food, the tafi, but like educating people and showing people that it's possible. So yeah, that's how I feel like maybe we can like tackle where we at as a community.
We're no longer in a world whereby it's let's work together, it's America first, Netherlands first, UK first. We're seeing a rise in nationalist politics, and we need to wake up as an African continent and start realizing it's survival of the fittest. Africa is on its own. We will continue being a destructive place where they'll extract a lot of our resources. We'll continue being, you can only have aid if you give us something. You only get our money if you give us something. So that's a wake-up call. And unfortunately is that we have to get to this point whereby the losses are guys, and that's not what we want. But the enemy here is our own parents. What are they doing to respond to this gap that has been created? Some of them are just sitting, not necessarily responding. There's a power that we have on this continent, and our leaders are certain.
Let me ask Nyakalo, who is a youth representative from the EFF. You know, majority African governments have had an average of 60 years to get their act right. Why is it that we're here having this conversation in 2025?
The government, the MPs, they are not asking the right questions, and they are also not going forward to basically show to see how this can actually be exploited.
Let me ask you, how do you feel about this? Because it's easy to conceptualize these ideas and make it sound really nice and intellectual. But the reality is, you still need access to this. This HIV epidemic is false.